Hi, I'm Ann, and today I'll be discussing one of the four ethical areas of concern regarding neurotech and AI: privacy. Neurotechnology has so far been used to test and analyze certain behaviors to predict traces of future disease. But what if the technology could be used in the masses by marketing companies instead of healthcare? The dangers are imminent. Companies may be able to track our patterns, both innate and conscious, to manipulate our experiences. Digital society, after all, has a big problem with lack of clarity. We don't know if companies are telling the truth in their privacy policies or terms of service. We also don't know if we have a way of verifying if a program is working as it was intended to. Instead, as a society, we should be able to opt out of services we feel aren't transparent enough for us to use. In doing so, demanding full transparency in the source code and privacy policy should be a priority to protect ourselves from manipulation. We can also propose formal regulation as a long-term strategy, but it would take longer for laws to update at the same time and pace as technological advancement. However, as a society, we must be aware of the potential for a dystopian outcome from having complex organisms in this way. Together, we can formulate transparent regulations and solutions designed to protect the innate value of our privacy and autonomy. Speaking next is Atisham regarding augmentation.
Hi, I'm Matt Desham, and today I'll be talking to you about augmentation. As technology advances, it tends to lead into two different directions. We have the ethics and the benefits. Benefits like improving physical and mental capabilities, ethics like discrimination, cultural sensitivity, equality, and a potential Cold War II scenario. Implementing these neurotechnological advancements on a global scale makes it imperative to focus on the cultural differences, as not all cultures share the same perspective. Resources should be isolated and focus on building international relations with respect to public opinion. As far as weaponizing the technological advancements, it's really imperative that we do this in a controlled environment, as the victims of World War II still are conflicted to this day, according to an article on the Public National Radio. It's hard to predict which technologies will have a negative or positive impact on human life. So, really, the best way to react to this is not by isolating ourselves or ignoring our responsibilities to improve, but to admit our faults, learn from our mistakes, and never repeat them. Thank you. And now Kelly will talk about ethics.
Hi, my name's Kaylee, and I'll be discussing one of the four ethical priorities that neurotechnologies and AI should not have, which is bias. Bias is sociologically learned data that create prejudiced opinions of a person or thing without any sufficient evidence. The biggest concern about bias is that those technologies will give more advantages to certain groups and harm other groups. According to the article, when scientific and technological decisions are based on a narrow set of systemic structure and social concepts and norms, the resulting technology can privilege certain groups and harm others. Neurotechnologies and AIs are technologies that have fundamental influences on how people understand the brain and various aspects of consciousness, thought, and higher order activities in the brain. And nowadays, we can see these technologies in our daily lives, such as supermarkets, malls, and airports. If those technologies have bias towards certain minority groups of people, the users may feel highly offended, and they will also act as a cultural, racial, sexual, and religious discriminators, which leads to lack of fairness and rights in society. In order to solve this concern, neurologists, engineers, and developers need to go through many discussions and debates, which they have already started in the industry and academia. They should also conduct constant study and research to design unbiased algorithms and devices. Through those practices, neurotechnologies and AI will create fair and correct system in the near future to help individuals that treat everyone the same.
Agency and identity. Neurotechnological advancements today have already shown signs of privacy and identity violations. According to the article, test subjects report not feeling like themselves and not recognizing these new behavioral patterns. The evidence is clear that such technology is not currently human friendly. as they can alter one's senses to the point where he or she no longer feels like themselves and has to question moral obligations.
I'll be touching upon agency and identity like my colleague Atisham. Overall, our identity and agency is challenged with the introduction of AI and neurotechnologies. What part of ourselves are still aligned with us even though it's being shared with other people? Having our brainwaves altered intermodulates us with other people and systems, but it poses the question, who and what is this new altered person? The line we cross to determine ourselves becomes fuzzy. But because of this, we must protect our ability to maintain definitive agency and identity for the future.
To what Anne said, we must protect our ability to maintain definitive agency and identity for the future because new technologies and AI will make all the users will not be able to identify themselves easily and have similar characteristics. And society will lack of variety and lose their true color.